What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing a very unique team in the Retro Cup submitted to the channel by Shikar CFC, who's running Dragapult, Shadow Crustle and Ninjask. Now in the submission they mentioned that Shadow Crustle is there to Corebreaker Oranguru plus Talonflame, which I personally don't think they were that common of a pairing, but these battles were sent to me during the first couple of days of the meta, so it's probably shifted a fair bit since then. But anyways, with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What do you think is the best secondary typing that pairs well with the dragon typing? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so go into the first battle, leading Dragapult into Gastrodon, so a fairly neutral matchup here of course. Gastrodon is going to outbulk us, but they have to full send an Earth Power to do any meaningful charge move damage, whereas we can go straight for a Breaking Swipe, looking for a debuff, unfortunately not getting one there, and so we will shield. They have farmed up to the Earth Power, they bait with the Body Slam though, and then they swap straight away into a Golbat. So at this point, we're going to fire off another Breaking Swipe, maybe looking to grab a shield, and we grab that shield. We also debuff their attack, and now we can come in with the Shadow Crustle. And at this point, even if they go and full send a Shadow Ball, we should be able to live it with that debuff and commit to a full Smackdown farm down. We get the farm down, the opponent comes back in with the Gastrodon. We're going straight for the X-Scissor here. X-Scissor is going to get the KO, and the opponent has a Pelipper in the back. Now, unfortunately, not quite making it to the rock side, but it doesn't matter. X-Scissor probably going to grab a shield, the final shield from the opponent. So now we can come in with our Ninjask, and just for the sake of it, we're going to make that catch there. I think we still would have been able to make it to an Aerial Ace before they're able to take us out with charge moves, but now we can commit to the Shadow Ball. A little bit unnecessary, but we have the energy. Shadow Ball gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, you can see Dragapult into Rapidash, so this is a great lead matchup for us. The opponent is going to choose to stay in with the Rapidash, and we are not going to fire a charge move straight away. Instead, going to throw on CMP, which is very risky up against an Incinerate user, but we do win CMP. Unfortunately, we don't get the debuff to their attack once again, so we're going to shield this up. The opponent is going to go for a Wild Charge there, going to debuff their attack by, their defense by 2 stages, so they swap out, clear the debuff, but they swap into Lurantis, so we're going to go straight for a Breaking Swipe. Honestly, I probably would have swapped into Ninjask already, but the opponent can only throw resisted charge moves. We let them farm us down all the way. I'm not so sure about that, but I guess we don't want to be switch locked with our Ninjask up against that Rapidash, so not the worst thing ever. We can now come in, tank that move very comfortably as it's double resisted, and actually we come out with so much energy, we can just fire off an Aerial Ace into the Rapidash, coming back in. Aerial Ace gets the KO. They've got Annihilate in the back, and they already recognize it's instantly game over, and they concede the match. So going into next battle, Dragapult into a Mirror Dragapult here. Both Dragapults are going to be running Dragon Tail, which is the preferred moveset for this meta, just because nothing is going to resist Dragon types, whilst, of course, there are a lot of normal type Pokemon where Astonish is double resisted. So we do unfortunately lose CMP there. We come in with our Crustle, and honestly, pretty good to see the Dunsparce coming in here, because Ninjask, a very frail Pokemon, also takes double super effective damage from those rollouts. So honestly, it cannot afford to be aligned to the Dunsparce. Unfortunately, though, we are going to have to fully sacrifice it here, swap into our Ninjask, but the opponent actually goes for Drill Run there, which is triple resisted, and that is huge for us. We can now fire for an Aerial Ace, probably going to grab a shield here as we are a bug type Pokemon, but you can see with just the Drill Run and 3 confusions, we're already in the yellow health range. We don't shield, and I think we kind of had to shield there, but of course if we shielded, the opponent probably could just commit to a full confusion farm down. So either way, regardless of how we played, I don't think there was any way for us to win this game, and at this point we've got a shield, there's no point using it. We are so low, Brutal Swing gets the KO, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But going into the next battle, you can see Dragapult into Swampert, so this is a good matchup for us. But of course, these mud shots are going to start adding up, to be honest, and an Earthquake will definitely take us out here. But we're going to go straight for a Breaking Swipe. This is just going to be a Hydro Cannon because they didn't even farm up to the Earthquake. Hydro Cannon is resisted damage, although you wouldn't know it because that does very nearly take us out. At this point, we're going to commit 1 shield, as I think is probably a good idea. Go for the Breaking Swipe straight away, not certain if we would live the mud shot damage there. And we get the KO. They come in with a Talonflame, so really good that we did fight for switch advantage, as now we can come in with the Crustle. They're taking so much damage, and they actually swap out of that matchup into a Leafeon, so interesting pick there from the opponent. And since they're running Bullet Seed, which I believe was a Community Day move, it's very unlikely that they're also running a second Community Day move in the form of the Last Resort. So at this point, we can, of course, double resist all of the grass type damage. We can farm 2 back-to-back aerial aces before throwing a charge move. What we don't want to do is give that Talonflame any extra farm. And now we can actually stay in, and once again, didn't need to, but we're going to full send the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. So go into next battle, we can see Dragapult into a Shadow Politoed. So like the Swampert, of course, we are going to resist the typical charge move here, but they could be running Ice Beam. So we're going to go straight for the Breaking Swipe, again throwing on CMP, and again the opponent does throw straight away. So honestly, especially since Breaking Swipe no longer has that guaranteed attack debuff, I would understand if we were guaranteed to debuff their attack every time we threw it there, because you might want to just get that debuff off before the opponent lands a charge move. But obviously, since we don't have that, I would recommend not throwing on alignment with Dragon Tail as much as possible, because yeah, it's just not that ideal. But we're going to swap into our Ninjask. I'm not so sure about that. Of course, Ninjask going to take super effective damage from all of the elemental punches, which isn't great since Shadow Hypno is probably going to run at least one of them, and we saw it there with the Ninjask. But they're going to go for a Body Slam bait there. Honestly, Body Slam might have taken us out from that range, so kind of needed to shield. We go for a Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe again doesn't get the debuff, and that is going to be costly for us unless we can go for a full Smackdown farm down here. But if the opponent is smart, they'll land the charge move, then swap back into the Hypno and just barely outpace us before we're able to make it to the Exeter. And of course, Thunder Punch from this range unfortunately takes us out. So go into next battle, we can see Dragapult into Licky Licky. So honestly, pretty good to see it here. Of course, if they go for the Shadow Ball, that will be taking us out. But if they bait with a Body Slam and we're able to call it, that will put us in a really strong position. Again, not getting the debuff there, which is very unfortunate. We actually get a no shield, calling the bait, and the opponent does bait with the Body Slam. They then swap into a Giraffe Rig. So we're going straight for Breaking Swipe number 2. Breaking Swipe, again, not going to get the debuff, which is very painful for us. At this point, we're not going to bother shielding the Ninjask, and I think that kind of makes sense here, because if we do shield, if we go for an Aerial Ace and we get the KO, they can just come back in with that Licky Licky and go for a huge rollout farm down. So instead, we're going to come in with the Dragapult, basically just force the opponent to throw their Psychic Fangs immediately, and putting it all on our Shadow Crustle in the back. Can Crustle sweep the game with 2 shields? Let's see, the opponent's going to come in with a Talonflame, and this is looking very likely. We can go straight for the Rock Slide here. Rock Slide easily gets the 1-shot. They come back in with the Licky Licky, and of course, we've got 2 shields. Might as well use them. They go for the Body Slam there. Doesn't really matter. One more Smackdown gets the KO, and we're able to take that game. Alright, so go into next battle, we can see Dragapult into another mirror match, although this time the opponent is running Astonish, so that is not really going to make a difference in this matchup here, because the opponent's actually going to commit 1 shield and go for the full Astonish farm down. They're still only going to make it to a Breaking Swipe, but we're going to shield anyways. Our backline is pretty glassy. They don't get the debuff, which is nice, and then come in with a Charm Brion, which is a very interesting pick. Of course, not going to be Stab Charms, as no Fairy types are allowed in the meta, but still pretty interesting. With all the Dragon types out there, maybe it is a fairly viable Pokemon, but either way, they're going to come in with a Cinderace, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think is a very viable Pokemon. We go for the Shadow Ball, that does huge damage, but it doesn't quite take them out there. We come in with the Crustle, we get the farm down, but unfortunately, charm damage just slightly too oppressive. We don't make it to the Exeter, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But going into the next battle, another Dragon type in the lead here, this time in the form of Fracture. And Fracture, one of the few Pokemon that actually will win CMP up against the Dragapult. We're just going to let it go down there. Let's go for a Night Slash. We come in with the Crustle, once again getting that farm down, and they've got a Venusaur. So we're going to farm and swap, make that catch onto our Ninjas as the opponent fires off a double resisted Frenzy Plant. Very nice catch, but unfortunately they've got a Talonflame there, and we throw on very poor timing. Honestly, we might have even made it to a Shadow Ball if we just committed to it, but unfortunately we go for the Aerial Ace, and just missing out on a few Fury Cutters means that we don't get the Smackdown farm down there, which honestly probably costly for us, as you know, we wouldn't have had to use a shield there. But honestly, at this point, we're so low, I don't think we're going to make it to 2 more X-Scissors before the opponent gets a full Vine-Wet farm down. So, going to shield out the Frenzy Plant there. Honestly, I think the opponent should just commit to a fast move beatdown. Either way, we're going to fire off the second X-Scissor, grab the final shield, and you can see we're not able to make it to a third X-Scissor, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But into the next battle, going to see Superior in the lead, so this is a fine matchup for us. Again, going to go for that breaking swipe immediately. I really don't like this play, but if we do get a debuff here, which we do, then, okay, I was going to say, we can just let that move go through. I mean, worst case scenario, it is a Frenzy Plant, but still, Frenzy Plant doesn't do much damage, especially when debuffed. They're going to come in with a Clodsire now. We go for breaking swipe, again, throwing immediately. Why are we shielding this? This is just going to be a Sludge Bomb. It's resisted damage. Yeah, I'm not really sure about these plays so far in this battle, but either way, again, throwing Breaking Swipe immediately. Breaking Swipe is going to be shielded, no debuff this time around, and we will finally see that this debuffed Sludge Bomb hardly does any damage at all, so definitely a waste of shields there. They're going to come in with their Licky, and unfortunately, we can stay in. We can go for a Breaking Swipe here. We do debuff their attack, but we are in a very tricky situation. So we come in with the Ninjas there, maybe expecting them to go for a Body Slam, try to catch it on the Crustle, but the opponent holds onto the energy, full sends an Earthquake before firing off the next charge move, and the opponent is actually running Earthquake and Shadow Ball, so they couldn't even go for the Body Slam there, but I don't think it really matters. Now we can come in with the Ninjask, fire off the Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace gets the KO up against the Superior. We should be able to outpace the Clodsire as well to the charge move, and they're running Sludge Bomb, pretty unlikely to run Stone Edge as well. Aerial Ace gets the KO, and from this range we can even Fury Cutter, farm down the rollout user, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we're going to see Dragapult into a Shadow Dragonite. So this is going to be pretty awful for the Dragapult there, as actually they're able to farm us down in just 4 Dragon Tails, so we're not even able to make it to a charge move. Pretty embarrassing for us. We come in, we tank the move on our Crustle, and again they're going to come in with a Venusaur. This time we're not making the catch. I mean, last time we tried to make the catch, it worked, but then they had a Talonflame in the back, which definitely wasn't ideal. This time we're going to shield, fire off the Exeter, grab a shield there from the opponent, and again they've got Talonflame in the back, so definitely not ideal for us. This time we're able to get off an Aerial Ace just before the 3rd Incinerate starts, so that's pretty good for us, but I don't think we're making it to another Aerial Ace here. So we're going to no shield, they go for the Flame Charge takes us out. We do get the Smackdown farm down, but of course, once again, way too low on the Shadow Crustle. They can Vine Whip, farm us down, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But going into the next battle, Dragapult into a Pidgeot. So the opponent is going to be running Gust here, and please don't throw straight away. We throw on alignment, we give them a full Gust in for free. Super unnecessary. Could have gone for 1 extra Dragon Tail, thrown the Breaking Swipe. They'd have got off the same number of fast moves, but of course, we'd have gotten a full Dragon Tail extra. But hopefully for us, it's not going to make a difference here. As a Breaking Swipe coming through, doesn't quite get the KO, but actually, it puts us into range where, yeah, we definitely shouldn't be swapping out there because we're at 1 HP, but luckily for us, Dragonite is able to snipe anyways. We come in with our Shadow Crustle, and Crustle looking to be a Corebreaker for the opponent's backline. We're going to swap, fully sacrifice the Ninjask, as the opponent doesn't go for a Rock Slide actually. They end up going for the Grass Knot, which is probably worse for us because now Dragonite can come in. They can go for a full Dragon Breath farm down, but never mind, they just don't bother shielding at all. Very confusing battle that was. Into the next one, we're going to see a Machamp in the lead, so very good matchup for us. We are going to shield anyways. They could go for a Rock Slide here, and it is the Rock Slide, so I don't mind that shield usage. They're then going to swap into Mew. We're going to go for a Breaking Swipe, just a bit short of the energy for the Shadow Ball, but we grab a shield anyways. And again, unfortunately, not getting a debuff with that Breaking Swipe. We're going to come in with the Ninjask. The opponent goes for Psy Shock there, which of course isn't super effective, but it is stab, so it hits pretty hard. Unfortunately, we're only making it to 1 charge move. We grab the shield there from the Mew, and maybe we can farm them down with our Crustle, but we're going to no-shield the first charge move as the opponent goes for another Psy Shock, dealing big damage. They swap back into Machamp, and they're able to outpace us to a move. At this point, just going to let the Crustle go down, putting it all into our Dragapult for the end game, and the opponent, unfortunately, getting damage registration error there, making it to a last-second Cross Chop. Cross Chop would have been double resisted, but honestly, that would put us incredibly low. So at this point, we are going to see the opponent comes in with a Charizard, and we're going to overfarm as much as possible, but honestly, we might have just been better off throwing the charge move as soon as we got there, because now unfortunately Mew able to get that Shadow Claw farm down, and actually if we throw the Shadow Ball earlier up against the Charizard, we'd have enough HP to get the Dragon Tail farm down up against the Mew, and unfortunately we end up losing that game. But into the next battle, we can see a Dunsparce in the lead, so good to see it here. Again, going for the Breaking Swipe straight away. This time I don't mind because we're throwing on CMP. The opponent's going to go for a drill run. Again, we don't end up getting a debuff, but the opponent swaps into a Talonflame. We can come in with the Crustle. We're actually going to no-shield this. As the opponent goes for a fly, we can still go for that smackdown farm down, but unfortunately I think one rollout will take us out, and unfortunately it does, but we're still able to make it to the Breaking Swipe up against the Dunsparce coming back in. Breaking Swipe is going to be no-shielded by the opponent, and they've got a Lantern in the back, so again, just going to go for that Breaking Swipe immediately, throwing on poor timing, but looking to get that debuff in, and this time we do get the debuff. And this time it's the opponent throwing straight away there, not throwing on very good charge move timing. And this time we're actually going to go for a much better timed move, although still throwing straight away, so I don't know if it was intentionally well timed. But either way, we're going to swap into our Ninjask, catch what's presumably going to be a Surf, and it is a Surf, which is very nice. And that should actually allow us to make it to an Aerial Ace, and whilst Aerial Ace is resisted damage up against the Lantern, it will put them into one Fury Cutter, farm down range, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.